is the expectation gap? The term of expectation gap was created by Lingyo 1974. He termed the expectation gap as the difference between expected and actual performance level as envisioned by the independent accountant and by user of financial statements. While this definition was expanded by the Cohen Commission on Auditors' Responsibilities 1978, considering if there is a gap between what the public wants or requires and what auditors can and should fairly expect to accomplish. The expectation gap occurs when auditors and the general public hold opposing views about the auditor's tasks and responsibilities. There appear to be a gap between what the public expects and what it really got. There are three types of expectation gap in auditing, which is if one of these happens or exists, automatically the expectation gap will arise. The types of expectation gap are knowledge gap. This gap happens because the public have no knowledge and unaware of the audit process. As a result, their view of what the auditors do might be different from reality. The second one is evaluation gap. The evaluation gap is caused by a distinction between two things. It comes from misalignment between what auditors are meant to perform and what the public expects them to do. The third one is performance gap. These performance gaps exist when the public expects the auditors to do something but somehow the auditors fails to meet those expectations.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is AIMAN HAKIMI and I am the second presenter. I will explain to you about critical issues of the audit expectation gap in the era of audit digitalizations. What is audit digitalization? According to the Herman ETR, the audit profession is currently experiencing a paradigm shift from traditional audits to digital audits or audit 4.0. A term derived from Industry 4.0, where according to the DAI and Vasahelgi, audit 4.0 was recommended as a framework to facilitate the transition toward a new era. What is its key goal? One of the key goals of audit digitalization, it should be noted, is to make fraud detection and risk quantification easier for clients. Due to the explosion of data and the inherent constraints of the old audit paradigm in terms of evaluating risk and gathering audit evidence, audit firms have shown a strong desire to integrate technology and data analytics in the audit process. Next slide shows how the selected 4 features of design science research will affect the important expectation gap issues of auditors' obligations for fraud prevention and detection, as well as auditors' responsibilities for maintaining internal control. First main design science research activities is problem identification and motivation. The impact of digital technologies on the expectation gap is business are beginning to use digital technologies to reduce costs, improve operational efficiency, and enhance internal control. Could these digital technologies be used to eliminate critical issues of the expectation gap? Second, defining the objectives of a solution. The objective is to examine how digital technologies will impact critical issues of the expectation gap. Third, designing and developing artifact. A range of digital technologies and their potential impact on critical issues of the expectation gap are presented. Lastly, communications of results. Digital technologies, if adequately implemented in the audit process, have the potentials of eliminating, if not narrowing, critical issues of the expectation gap. There are 3 analyses and evaluation from the article. First, audit digitalization in relation to fraud prevention and detection. It is currently fashionable to use data analytics for fraud detection and risk quantification. Data analytics will allow auditors to use digital technologies to test a large number of transactions. For example, auditors might use big data analytics to examine high-risk area like cash transaction to detect suspicious activities and verify compliance with requirements like money laundering regulations, thereby improving internal controls. In general, transitioning from traditional substantive tests, analytical tests, and control tests to enforcing a problem-oriented data analytics strategy in big data will be helpful for audit companies. Okay. Audit digitalization in relation to the soundness of internal controls. Control methods, risk management, the whole control environment, and audits in general are all being transformed by digital technologies. Digital technologies and data analytics provide auditors with huge opportunity to efficiently and comprehensively comprehend a client's business and environment in this era of vast and complicated data, which enhances auditors' risk assessment and response about internal control. It should be emphasized that auditors' extensive and deeper understanding of the auditee and its surroundings provides the auditee with priceless information about its risk assessment and business operations, which is critical for developing the auditee's internal control system. Artificial intelligence is also being used to monitor, visualize, and assess a company risk in real time, which is required to develop control measures to mitigate this risk. Lastly, evolution gap and challenges of audit digitalizations. Despite the promise of audit digitalization in reducing the never-ending expectation gap issue of auditors' responsibility for fraud prevention, detection and maintaining internal controls, the audit practice community will face a slew of new threats, risks and challenges. A paradigm transition from traditional auditing to digital auditing may accidentally create an evaluation gap due to technical innovation, resulting in new expectations from the financial statement users. In order to deal with this expectation, the audit practice community may need to be proactive in seeking solutions to emerging expectation gaps and limits before they become imminent. The audit industry must avoid reverting to the old cycle of reputational damage and sourcing for solutions to close the gap. Auditors may have to deal with additional hazards in the future. Current internal control mechanisms were not built to address challenges like cybersecurity, information security, and data privacy. The audit sector may also have to deal with ethical issues such as how to use digital technology properly and what data can be used. Okay, let's move to the next presenter.
Let's move on to the key issues. The first one is the auditor's perceived independence. Auditor independence is considered as a capstone of the audit profession because it has been providing non-audit services, creates role conflicts, and has deleterious repercussion and objectivity. Due to the worthwhile compensation for the non-audit services, auditor may act in an uncomplimentary way to the stakeholders to protect their self-absorption. The Big Four can be restricted from providing non-audit services, and there is internal auditors and audit committees is indispensable for conserving corporate accountability. According to the International Auditing and Assurance Standard Board (IASB), providing non-audit work and increasing the independent audit oversight are vital to mitigate the audit-related expectation. Hence, the auditor's perceived independence (API) has a negative impact on the audit expectation gap. The second one is the auditor's improved level of communication. Expectation gap occur when the auditor's lack of proper information communication with the client. According to American Institute of Certified Public Accountants (AICPA), gaps can destroy confidence in an audit report, resulting in a bad decision and creating insignificant litigation. To reduce the communication gap, the auditor must set the standard and the auditing profession with much detail. In order to explain the audit report in the beginning, the changes in the title of the engagement partner and the presentation of the opinion section should be made. Thus, proper communication of the auditors will reduce the audit expectation gap. Moreover, the long form audit report decreases the expectation gap over time. Next is stakeholders' confidence. Although agency theory states that they identify statutory persistence of an audit to protect the stockholder, it is required to resolve the purpose of the audit with realism. Nowadays, the higher expectation gap is the lower the credibility, earning prospect, and the auditor's work reputation. Next is the appropriate analysis and evaluation for this article. This research is very competent with which it explores the audit expectation gap that exists from various aspects. Also, new insight of AEG has been identified, such as the auditor's responsibility for going concern in reporting assessment and demand other assurance services. Some parts of the annual report, such as management discussion and analysis and corporate, social, and environmental reports, are not audited without the user's knowledge. Some of the findings are consistent with some previous research in the aspects of the auditors' errands for fraud prevention and also their benefit. From the Bangladesh perspective, there is a significant audit expectation gap in the area of the auditor's responsibility in fraud detection. Education plays an important role in reducing AEG in an emerging economy setup. Nevertheless, this research aims to decide which factor contribute to form the audit expectation gap, whether it has any impact on the auditor's perceived independence, the auditor's improved level of communication, and stakeholders' confidence. Also, to determine ways to mitigate the audit expectation gap to build the stakeholders' confidence in audit. The study inferred that the audit expectation gap negatively affect the stakeholders' confidence. Meanwhile, the auditors maintain their perceived independence and improve the level of communication can lessen the audit expectation gap as well as conveys the stakeholders' confidence in unison.
Before we end this video, let's go to the conclusion and recommendation. Going through the key issue, there are both positive and negative points discovered on each of them. Therefore, in order to maintain the positive impressions of the auditing service sector, it would be way better for the involved parties to watch demos and improve the performance, as they could easily catch the public attention. In conclusion, expectation gap is an important issue to deal with, especially in auditing matters, as it affects so many things. And in order to handle expectation gap issue well, the auditors are indeed required to be more careful and detailed on their moves, and also to leave good impressions only to the public's eyes. That's all from us.